They say people change, feelings that fade, but my love is here to stay. I love you today, we'll love you tomorrow, we'll love you when we open way. Love you today, love you tomorrow, love you when we open way. Some find beauty in looks, others go for curves. No matter what they do,
3FM.
I still put you first. Some say beauty they lie in the eyes of a beholder, but true love no they mind. This one is from the
Start your day.
I love your imperfection,
On 92.7.
I love your flaws
3FM.
and your motherly affection. They say people change, feelings that fade, and my love is here to stay.
3FM Sunrise.
We'll love you tomorrow, love you when we open day. Love you today, love you tomorrow,
3FM.
love you when we open day. Baby, make you know the shiver. No. Oh, don't make a we marry. Eh, oh my Ankara, do I love you.
3FM Sunrise.
I love your flaws and your motherly affection. My baby, they say people change and feelings that fade, but my love is here to stay. Yeah, I love you today, we'll love you tomorrow, we love you when we open the door.
3FM Sunrise.
Love you today, love you tomorrow, love you when we open the door. Oh my baby,
It's 47 minutes after 8 o'clock here on 3FM 92.7, the 3FM Sunrise Morning Show. Helena Piampofo. Yeah, William Masiedu of Current Memory. Yeah. And the Honorable Cynthia Mamley Morrison, MP for Aguna West, and also former Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. I remember the COVID era. She was sharing food left, right, center. People were pushing her, Madam Kenya, Madam Kenya. Madam, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Fine, thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Same there.
You came very well dressed for the occasion.
Yes, sir.
What's your Valentine wish?
It should be love in the air for every one of us. You know, there are people who have had I love you like 3-4 times from husband, wife, children, family members. And there are others that nobody remembers. For those ones, I wish them happy vows day.
Right. And just to add that, she's also the chairperson for the Select Committee on Communications in Parliament. Big woman by our standards here, in flesh and blood. What does Valentine mean to you, particularly from the perspective of a former gender minister, a leader in a constituency, a tower in Parliament? What does it mean for you?
You know how people, let me say good morning to our listeners. You know how people have debated that Christmas is not 25th of December.
Right.
But we have all come to accept that 25th December is Christmas.
Right.
Same with Valentine. Whatever it takes, whoever brought it, there should be a day for something. Just like we have Farmers' Day, we have Teachers' Day, the whole world has accepted that 14th of February is a month of love and a day of love. So we take the February to be the month of love. And so for me, it is a special day because at least it is a day that even if nobody has told you I love you, you can have that day. Or even nobody has given you a gift or a chocolate or anything. Now, you know, your phone, you just wake up and you have a lot of messages on your phone. That alone should let you know that someone cares about you. You know, we know that God cares about all of us. For human beings, at least, to know that someone cares about you. So for me, Valentine is special. But unfortunately, we are turning it into something else.
Turning it into.
I used to have a gift shop, a very beautiful gift shop. And I just, not for the money, but for the love that I have. Every nice thing that you want in the shop. And, one Valentine's Day, I remember one Valentine's Day. Like how many years ago? Close to like 20 years ago, is it? Like, say, 18 years ago. I was in my shop when this nice young girl came. And she was, doing her selection. And she was like my daughter's age. And then she picked the panty and said, this will only last for the night. And I'm like,
wow.
Did I hear this girl right? So I called her and I said, what exactly do you want? And then she was bold to tell me. I was so sad. I'm like, can I have your parents' number? And my sales girl was like, Mommy, you're spoiling the business. I said, what business it is?
Yeah.
My daughter's age.
How old?
Oh, like 15, 16.
Oh, that's
And
young.
I know the school that she was coming from. And I'm like, what do you mean? So I started talking to the girl. So any other young lady that entered the shop, I had to query, who are you buying it for? What is this?
What are you going to use it for?
My girl was like, Mommy, please go home.
You are ruining the business.
I came back home so disturbed. On that note, I stopped, running
gift shop.
Ultimate. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Until today, people call me that, want to order something from, and I'm like, Ultimate is no more. That is the reason why I stopped.
So the young lady made you shut down the...
I was so shocked.
Because
that,
you couldn't believe that on that altar, you were the one fueling it.
Yes.
Even though that was not your intention.
That wasn't my intention. But that young lady, and I'm looking, my daughter Nana is like this girl. How can I be doing that? And part of the reason why I can't even have a hotel or a guest house, to see young girl. But I don't say it's wrong. People can do it, but my conscience.
You won't do it.
Yeah, and so for that reason, when it gets to Valentine, I just want to educate young people. It's not for sex.
But that's what it's being turned into.
I know,
unfortunately,
I know.
there's Cupid, draw out your bow and let your arrow flow into my lover's heart for me.
Unfortunately, that is what it has turned into. That I wish we could use your media to also educate, especially the young girls.
Right.
As for boys, you impregnate a girl and you go. Nobody sees that if you impregnated a girl, you are going back to school, you are going back to work. But that young lady, even if she started work, she has to stop because maybe she just started for a year or like 6 months. She gets herself pregnant. She may not even find the guy again.
Yeah.
And so I am very, very particular about things like love. Love is good, but if you can wait, it's
I'm just thinking about this from an economic angle, especially, as we've been saying, where we find ourselves, how we got here, we're still figuring that out. But from an economic perspective, for example, shutting down a business, maybe that is quite lucrative on those grounds, because there are those that are 21 plus who are old enough to make informed decisions. For example, if you all shut down your intimate love stores, then where do we go? Those of us who are grown and want to indulge in the sexier parts of Valentine, we also want to give our money to the economy, buy some sexy things here and there. There's a market for the adults, for sure, so that at home the parents can do the talking to the young ones. At 15, I would have never even dreamt in my life to go and buy anything romantic.
But the law says 16 though.
Yeah.
It says 16, for example. At 16, even at 16, I wouldn't have.
You heard what I
That's-
said. I said that is my opinion.
Right.
That is why I can't even have a hotel. I don't want to have it.
She's not against people who want to have that.
You can go ahead and do it. It's not. Haven't said it's that bad.
But for you, your
my
conscience and principles.
Sometimes I think our morality or our perceived or seeming morality stands in the way a little bit of us making a bit of cash. Yes, the young ones have to be protected, but those that
But what would be the essence of the cash if by the time you finish, the society is ruined?
That is true. Just thinking about
you have
the
money, society is ruined.
I run a school and I love my school because I'm able to talk to my school. Saturday I was in straight, I was in school. And then I saw, because before then, we went to a program and those popping the champagne.
Right.
The moment they unwrapped the cork, they all dropped the
littered
on the floor. And that is normal.
Yeah.
You see them do that.
Yeah.
And I
Even
was
for those who
expecting-
buy bottled water.
I was expecting that after, unwrapping, at least they will hold it and get a bin.
Yeah.
But all of them, they were my people that I was working with. So Dan Kweku Yeboah was sitting by me. I said, Kweku She, omu nyina de tutu from ho. And that has become the norm.
Yeah.
But my school children, I try and tell them, you don't litter. So when you are walking around and you find any plastic on the floor, you pick it up. And that was the style. The moment I came out of the program was a wedding. So I was coming to change for a funeral because you know MPs, we do funeral, we do weddings, we do whatever.
You do small party and put GMO here and there.
Yeah, everything. So I was just coming to change. When I entered the school, I looked right and I saw plastic all over. Then I told myself, I was just telling Dan that my school children don't litter. So when I packed, then I called the house mistress. I said, look round. I've seen litter everywhere. So the children went back. By the time I came back, the whole place was so clean. And I told them, even if you don't drop it and somebody else drops it, when you see it, pick it. And anytime you find litter in my school, is when the children have closed. And the drivers are coming to pick the children. They rather litter. And when you enter the school itself, you will not find litter because you've trained them. So there are certain things that you can train, and there are certain things that will go beyond you. I know parents are doing the education, but I haven't said a gift. Today I have to go and look for a card for my husband. I have to go to a gift shop. You want to buy something for someone, a birthday card or something. But my conscience, you know, the whole thing was like, and I still say, look at how many years. I still tell people every time. I was like, you know,
you just couldn't find. Yes, you just couldn't find it. You just couldn't accept it that look, this lady is coming to my shop, and she made the statement when you were there, and you couldn't just let her go. You had to do with it.
So I just thought of it.
Speaking of litter, I actually have litter in my pocket.
That is good.
So my mother worked with the AMA. She always says, "Kache no kodokufo."
That's true.
Put it in your pocket. If you drink water, put it in your pocket. You have paper. You know, don't litter until you find the next thing.
The wrap. After drinking the water, you can put it in the plastic, or even by the side. When you open, you can put it there. So if we can start educating, I think it will go a long way. People do it unconsciously. Look, in my constituency, we went for sanitation. Cleaned up the whole community. We finished. We came to sit, to eat, and to drink. And then right where we're sitting, they drink the sachet water, they put on the floor. Forgetting that we just went around to clean up. So it has become a habit that I'm sure education can change it. So anyway, I tell the media, if you can talk about this thing, there are people who do it unconsciously. He will just drink or eat something, open the window and throw it out. Before you remember that, why did I do that? The car is gone. So I think those things.
One other point, I mean, before we move on with the conversation, one other point is where people spend all the money to plan for events. They have the best chairs, best guests, best food, best canopy, best decor, everything else, but they don't have a sanitation plan. So there are no litter bins around there. When you engage me to MC an event for you, that's the first thing I tell you. You have everything figured out, but because I don't want to finish and then when we are done, you know, the usual thing, when we are done, we now have to sweep and, you know, it takes...
Are you talking to politicians? We have our big rallies. After the rally.
Not just
the rally, you look around and everywhere is...
Not just politicians, everybody else. I mean, and I see that consistently.
But some do well now.
Yes, some
do well. You see AMA in their Zoom Lion in their uniforms around. And these days, I see a lot of, you know, even while you are drinking, they are even walking in between you. You think, what is this? But at least it sends a signal.
We should have a sanitation plan for every event.
Johnny, before we go, sorry, Madam mentioned politicians. I had a program when I was managing editor of the Daily Heritage that I was approaching the politicians to do a newspaper, specialized newspaper for them. So instead of posting their bills on the walls of the cities and towns, they would rather put everything in the paper. Then we will share freely to individuals who would have time to even read your programs, have your photos. So I approached one parliamentary candidate who was a mayor of a city. He told me the idea is brilliant, but I'll tie his hands behind him because the rest of his colleagues are putting it on the walls. And after the elections, as Madam is saying, they deface the walls because everything gets torn up and all the ribbons and things they put around. So we should move beyond the narrative and be creative. So if Madam is there, is standing for
and pastors, you go and look at Underbridge. Anytime I'm going home and I get there, it's an eyesore. How do you just litter the walls with your posters? And what does that do? But you are spoiling somebody's business, like he said.
No, but it's still business. The printers can still get money from the paper.
No, there are people who have the printing press for only posters.
That we went print is if you go to Newtown, that's what we print.
They're the same people who print the newspapers.
And it's creative, Madam. You have a newspaper in your name. I don't know what name you want to give it. everything is about your
like
project.
individual.
Yes, he says
individual.
exactly.
Oh, okay.
Then we'll share.
That's very creative.
Yes, you stand by the road and just share. So that you don't go to Europe to see people's posters on the wall.
We thank you.
So maybe once Madam is there,
Engineer Williams. We thank you.
And even in Europe, we went to Boris when he was having his election. We went there to campaign for him as part of our social responsibilities. They put in the
letterbox.
Exactly.
We do door to door.
Keep them off the
So
walls.
even when you get there, you can put it under the door, or even just like they do their distribution of their papers. So we can have a
do
law that
something
says
about
that
it.
you can do your posters, but share it. If you don't get people to share, drop it. Don't put on the
Madam,
wall.
don't you think it comes from a cultural perspective where we like to do things glamorously?
true. Dynamic.
We should see the MP. The MP there,
but
she
you can
has
see
to
the
be
MP better here.
No, I'm saying that,
No,
William,
you
you see,
see-
your
you want to see the-
people don't have a newspaper culture.
No, what I'm saying is that when I'm driving by the road and I see your photo, I just pass. But when I have your photo big on the front page, I'll have it with me.
Some
and I
people
still
will
have
keep
it
it.
in my face.
William, you want to read because that's what I'm
Not
saying.
reading, just
I'm
a
saying
photo.
that the majority of people have not developed a newspaper culture, and that is why until tomorrow, with all the good information, Daily Graphic, Ghanaian Times, Daily Guide, people will still not buy it. They would rather, use the money for something else and look at a giant paper and say, "That's my MP, that's my candidate, that's my candidate."
And
Anyway,
billboard is
change.
competition.
Yes.
And there is
Our-
directions. When you get to that billboard, 10 left.
Yes,
Right now, it's
that's my MP. That's my MP. Yeah. Let's talk love. so for the children, I mean, on a day such as this, Valentine's Day, what should be the focus for those who have no parents of their own at this point, who are homeless? What should be the agenda for them in terms of a Valentine touch?
As a nation, we don't have any policy for that. The only thing we can do is to maybe wish them love, maybe in schools or on air like this. How many of them are even listening to us? Some of them are in school already. Others are littering on the streets. I'll say littering because it's an eyesore
It is.
on the streets. And then who can tell them love? Like you're saying, if, we just drop little chocolates for them on the road to tell them love and to tell them that someone cares about them. I do that, I stop by and call them around me. But sometimes, hey, it's something
It can
else.
be dangerous.
It can be, but most of them know me. Most of them know me because when I was a minister, I used to go to their shelter. I used to call them every week. We met at the children's park, and then I had some how do I call them? Some elderly, retired women who'd come with food. Other people bring us food and we feed them. And we had people coming to check on their health status and all that. So most of them know me. You talk to them, but it's a difficult thing. Those children you see around there, most of them have been to the rehab, to jail and back. Some of them have pulled knives and it's a serious thing. So I won't advise anybody to just stop and call them around because it can be very dangerous. But for children in the homes, this is about time that at least we pay them a visit and to let them know they are loved. When I talk about this thing, I talk about it with pain because you are home, you see your children, they eat all that they want to eat. Even if you don't have enough money, at least, even if it's mash kinky, they drink it with love. There are other children who people visit almost every week. I talk about those two children's home. Sometimes they don't have food, but most of the time they have food. People go and visit them, they give them everything. But they lack one essential thing, that is love. And that love, food cannot replace it. I always ask myself, where will these children go to after here? When they marry, what do they tell?
What will be their story and their narrative?
And it's a painful thing. You see, maybe the reason why I'm passionate about them is that I didn't have a father. Not that I didn't have a father. He was alive, but he was somewhere else.
It was not present.
And I craved for a father. I cried for a father. I would hide somewhere, just crying. At one point, I said, do I kill myself? Because I go to my friends and I see the love that their parents, even when the father is screaming at them, you see that he's not screaming because he hates them, but he's screaming because he's correcting them. But I come home and I don't have it. And I'm like, where did I go wrong? I had a very loving mother, very caring mother, very responsible mother. She did everything. If I say everything that a mother could do. By around this time, she started paying for our next Christmas dresses. She worked with the bank. Those days was Standard Bank Ghana Limited. She was the first female accountant. Wow. She worked with the bank, and there were 4 girls. So she started paying from now. So we wear St. Michael panties, we wear St. Michael underwear.
Top brands.
Yes. Those days was St. Michael's that we didn't know about anything.
Yes, St. Michael.
And she wouldn't buy it, with cash. She would buy it, she would save towards that. So by Christmas, we would dress better than the landlord's children. Oh yes.
Yeah, that's wahala in the home.
We still remember we had some checkered underwear.
Right.
Apart from our panties, we wear that with elastic here so we'll be safe. And then our St. Michael, we remember all that. And that woman struggled to give us a good life. With all that, I was craving for a father. What about somebody who doesn't have any? It's a painful thing, but if you are okay, you don't even think about them. But thank God, my children are also close to me. They see children like that and they're like, Mommy, what do we do to help them?
Right.
Which is something I so much love.
And that's because you sowed that into them, because you benefited from your mother. So
and
you
I
passed it on.
I tell them how fortunate they are to have both parents. So occasionally I'll take them to my mother's house and say, the 4 of us shared one room, but we shared it with love. Each of you have your room. So your love should be more than what we are doing. What my
do you miss being gender minister?
I do.
What do you miss?
I do. This is the first time I'm talking about it, but I'm surprised it came out so loud because I always refuse to talk. I'm surprised. Did I do that?
There's something in the studio.
Did I do that? Because
yes, you did.
I refuse to talk about it. Oh, I do. Oh my goodness. Did I do that?
Yes, you're fine.
How did it come out so loud?
It's okay, you're fine.
Yesterday I was talking to my husband. Was it 3 days today? I said, you know why I miss gender? The women in the north that they are branded witches. The program I had for them that I couldn't finish.
Right.
The street children. We had a good program for them. We met them. I am somebody who, just as I told you about my father, so I didn't have plenty. I didn't have much. By God's grace, now I have. And I didn't have because I'm a politician. I had before I became a
businesses,
politician. I
schools,
have my schools, I have
shops.
My own. My husband is a man on his own before I became a politician.
Right.
So when they talk about politicians making money, I was sitting there.
But your track record is already there.
I am like, so am I part of the list the people are talking about? When I was there and you're talking, I'm like, hey. So am I in the same category?
But there's only people who don't know you who would assume that way.
And so I love giving to people. Every year, after 50, I told myself, every year I'll celebrate with people with disability, people who can't afford. So this year, January 17th, I celebrated with my people with disability. That is my style. And that's been my style before I became a member of parliament. I go to Osu Children's Home. My 40th birthday, I was with Osu Children's Home. We celebrated. And after that, I see my friends also do that. Cynthia, I want to do this. Where do we go? And all that. So then when they mentioned my name as a gender minister, there are also people who are like, oh, now you have come home.
Right.
You used to be with us, now you're finally. And for those things, I miss. And when I miss, we haven't heard from you for a while. I won't go into details, but I miss.
But I'm going to details.
I miss things that I could have done.
Beyond the abolishment of the witches camp, what else? Some say, for example, the children on the streets, and you are noted for engaging the children on the streets. But some say
I pick them up. Look, those children on the streets. If we are not careful, it will take us forever.
Why do you say that?
The mother is in, let's say, Aguna West. I won't mention somebody's constituency. The mother is in Aguna West, a village in Aguna West. They get up in the morning and there's no food on the table. She doesn't own a farm. The father, she cannot even find. So this boy just walks around selling coconuts. In some certain times of the year, you cannot unplug coconut because there's no enough juice in it. Right. So say there's nothing much. Cocoa is in lean season, so there's nothing coming that somebody say, go and weed for me. At that time, they finish weeding. They're just waiting on board. And then
so
the little money.
So
that young man comes home, there's nothing. Sometimes they eat cassava with oil, like you see in the movies. They eat cassava with oil. Even salt to put on the cassava, they don't have. And then he decides to come to Sweden. Where is he going in Sweden? He gets to Sweden, somebody's telling me, Accra. Accra, okay, he comes to Accra. He doesn't have any relative here. He doesn't know anybody. He's a street ghetto boy who has brought him. So he stays with him. Who feeds him? He has to go and walk around and look for something. He knows that by washing cars, somebody can give him 5 cedis. Because there are people, because of religion, they give alms. So you cannot stop them. Even if you tell them don't give. His religion or her religion says give.
Like me.
Okay, his religion or religion says give. So he'll find a way of giving. There are people who actually cook in the house, package them, and they're shared for those 3 children.
That's right.
Oh, yes, people do that.
I've never seen that
So
before.
instead of
do that. It's all
instead
over.
of you throwing your food away, you can do that.
I know people who do that.
I see.
They put the
They
food in
package
packs.
back, so they see them and they
They go
just-
from traffic light to traffic light.
So when the food gets exhausted, they go home. People do that, and so he knows that. And then that young boy, after moving around and getting like 30 cedis, 20 cedis, and sometimes they make like 100 cedis. He can buy his own malt. He can buy his own pack rice and chicken. He's on his own. He's 14, he's 15, he's 16, he has a girlfriend. Some of them have impregnated girls. And the girls are with them, they are street boys and girls. So it's like nobody controls them. And as human beings, sometimes we wish that nobody will have our liberty to do whatever. Growing up, we all at a point wanted our liberty. It's when you grow up that you realize that, it's better you went through
To
that
be a
strict-
man now, wow.
Yeah. But for them, they are better off than the people they left in their villages. So they are in their comfort zone.
Right.
Until they grow up and realize that we've lost it. Even growing up, they compare themselves to their uncle or their auntie who is staying home and is not okay. They are even better. So comparatively, it's like somebody going to on the Syria to America, to Europe. You tell the person, said, it's better the unknown
than my village.
Yes. So for you to convince that person, they are looking at somebody who has succeeded. They are not looking at somebody who has drowned, because they are not thinking of the unknown. All they are thinking is that I can make it. Whether they'll make it or not, I can make it.
That's a different ballgame.
Yes. So looking at that comfort, that's why I'm bringing you from that perspective. Looking at that comfort, they feel they're okay here. So you drag them, you pick him up from here. We go around at night and pick them up to the shelter. I go to the market myself with my chief director, because you send somebody, what they'll bring you don't like, just make them comfortable. Buy their dresses, their underwear, their everything to make them happy. They'll be there after 2 weeks.
They'll
One
go
of them
back.
Jumps over the wall, he's gone. Another person, he's gone. And so once somebody knows that one person is gone, and he also goes. So it's a difficult thing. So unless we have a direct, is the only policy that I'll say, a strategy, something, you put them in school, or the parents themselves, think that, how do the parents themselves, like I've said, it's difficult for them. I have to be very frank. It's difficult for them to cater for that child. So in Accra, he's in America.
Madam, somewhere in 2020, you got in touch with Sincerely Sanitary Pads. I was part of the project where you donated some sanitary pads to young ladies who had issues with acquiring same. I mean, how is it difficult for society to take care of girls who just need sanitary pads? You were there at the ministry. Was there any intervention program apart from people donating?
Like we are talking here, she said she didn't even know that people cook and give to those people. If we'll all make it our responsibility to sing that song. You understand? To sing that song out loud to the general public, that you can even buy one sanitary pad. You don't need to buy a whole box. Minaye manufactures, so she can afford to give enough. Other people sell, so they can afford to give. Somebody can just buy one. If there's a center where you can drop it, and then gender ministry is still there. They have a new minister, but she's still there. So you can drop it and say, at this point, we are sharing sanitary pad for maybe young ladies or the Kaye or whatever. But you know our culture. You today you are sharing here. The same person who would come here tomorrow, if you move to the next place, she will also come. But there's a way of identifying them. But even for her to come twice means she needs it, because sanitary pad is not food. So so if we can do things like that. But if I say the government can buy sanitary pad and share, I'll be lying.
That has come
Let me tell you something.
That has come
Let me tell you something. cocoa board, they had scholarship for cocoa farmers, isn't it?
Yes.
When we're going to school. CMB scholarship.
They still do.
Listen, who are the beneficiaries?
You know, my father.
Who were the beneficiaries?
You know when I was in
80% of the beneficiaries are the director's children.
You know, when I was in school, I was given one of those cocoa board scholarships. Then my father asked my mother, why are they giving me cocoa board scholarship? Because they can pay for my fees and I don't need it and I have no connection with cocoa.
Yes.
So we went to GES. I remember Professor Kumfi. And we went straight to GES and told them he doesn't want it.
Yeah.
He went in his uniform.
That's
I
right.
don't want this cocoa board thing on my son.
Citizen. They are giving it to the elite. They give it to the elite. So me, I like school-free SHS. But my son, just as you're saying, my son is in infant Spain. He was in Christian High. But my daughter went to Wesley Girls. She went to Alpha Beta, and I said she wanted to go to Tema. I took her the TIS. We went to the school. We looked at it. She was so much in love with it. But you know what? Me, I am such a person. We went to the school. I saw the parents coming. We all went to inspect the adult children's room. I saw these young ladies in mother's home. Barely naked. With anklets and whatever, flaunting themselves. And I sat there watching.
Proper pre-man appearances.
And I told my husband, these are the parents that my daughter is going to. I told my husband.
No.
I said, no. In my head, I said, no. So we came home. My daughter was so excited. She was going there. I didn't tell her anything. We're waiting for her results to come. Her results came. At that time, she had gone to America on vacation. The results came. She did very well. She got Wesley Girls. I couldn't tell. So she came. Oh, Mommy, I said, Ira, you got Wesley Girls? Mommy, no, I don't want Wesley Girls. I've told my friends I'm going here and everything. I said, look, at that time, she was 13 instead of 4. Is it 12 or 13? She was a year.
Again, that's 12. That will be 12 then.
12. I said, Ira, you are still 12 years old. If you still want to go here, they've gone already because I told them you're not coming. You can write an exam again and go next year because that will be your age. So in that 1 year, you go to Wesley Girls,
then you can come back.
Then you write the exams and then you can come back. Reluctantly, my daughter, so I had to call godfather and everything. She went. Then after 1 year, I'm like, okay, after
Exam
1 year,
time.
if you want to change, you can change and go to CIS. Meanwhile, she had made friends and everything, so she stayed. And I saw the discipline. I saw the way she comes home and she's like, pack her old stuff. They're going to give it to the what's the name? There's a village. Is it a Kakum village?
Kakumdo.
Yeah, the village there. They have to go and give things to donations to the young girls who don't have. So I see her packing her things and she was so excited. And like, at least she has learned something to give to the vulnerable. So my other children were in Christian High. One of them had asthma, so I didn't want to move him because at least here you know that the teachers are. So the last one I said, you go to infant Spain. So he's in infant Spain now, his final year.
Okay.
He went to infant Spain and he's like, hey, mommy, pay the school fees so they can give me plenty food. He is a food person. He's a food
So he's struggling at the moment.
because at Christian High, we could get everything. But we're paying how much?
Yes.
Ridiculous amount.
A lot of money.
Is not giving
But
them
now
enough.
my son is in infant Spain. Then last year they told me somebody passed and said he didn't have money from his village to infant Spain. So they wanted a school at Asin.
Okay.
So someone told me, said, how? Transport to come to school because it's free. Transport to come to school. So I arranged that we should let the boy come to school. So he came. I said, Nana, there's this guy coming to your school. He says because of transport, he can't come to school. So if he can't afford transport, what about food? What about dresses? Yeah, mommy, I'll get him some of my dresses and I'll tell my friend. And he packaged, and then now his friends like bring 1 tin of milk, bring 1 tin of mackerel, and then they give to him. So the boy is now in school. So at least I know that even though the food will not be like, but at least my son has learned something.
See, should we make parents pay at least for?
Me, if they say I should pay, I'll pay.
But that argument has been put forward, especially regarding the sustenance of free SHS. Good policy, but of course it has financial challenges.
Look, there are people who have enough, who can sponsor or do anything. There are people in their homes, even though their children are not in the free SHS. If you tell them that the doors are open, there's a coffers or whatever open for fund for people to sponsor on, making sure that people are monitoring it and it's going to the good use of it. People will donate.
I think that's already
So why are we
happening.
not doing that, madam? As a government, why are we not doing that? And there's always this food shortage.
I haven't talked about food. So when we were in school, we had food.
No, I'm talking about now.
When we were in school,
Because
we
my
had
daughter
food.
is there. And the food, as you said, is not much.
When we were in
It's
school,
small.
we didn't have much.
Yes, we
I
did.
remember
But,
when we were in
madam,
school, we used to
had much.
demonstrate
We
for
had-
food. You
No,
were there, me 83, we were demonstrating on food.
Madam, I was 87. I was also in the
West
80s.
girls. And
87, I was there.
We used to eat more
We-
than
we
what
have-
they say
yeah, exactly.
we're eating now.
Listen, Elijah went to Wesley Girls. She would cry over food. So you know what? I did her pepper in small packages,
Okay.
so she can take it to
Per
the
meal.
dining hall per meal. Auntie Ajo is my witness. She was the mother taking care of her. She had two. Every school my children go to, I have
But now
two mothers.
two mothers.
So because one mother will get tired of you every day, you're knocking on her door. So she have two mothers. Today you
Mother
go here,
A, mother B.
mother B, mother C. So I package her pepper like this with meat in, dried meat in, dried chicken.
That's
in,
what we
so
used
that
to
you
do.
take it to the dining hall.
Yes.
I'm
But-
telling you,
but
school
madam,
is not
now-
like home.
Right.
Seriously.
But now
You
see,
have to
I'm
adjust.
The
coming,
situation is tight.
I'm coming. Let me say
Allow
something.
madam to finish.
Let me say something. Me, I am a politician. But when something is wrong, I say it's wrong. When something is right, I say it's right. Look, free SHS, the food is not as good as it used to.
Right.
When you are home and you know that my wife, myself, or my husband, myself, my children, there are four of us, we are cooking. You know the amount of food.
Right.
The moment you get a visitor, one person comes to join, the food will
The
not be
portion
as the
will-
portion
will
will
reduce,
reduce.
yeah.
And then like 6 or 10. When the soup is like this pot, what will you do? Definitely your wife would have to add a little water to
That's
it
right.
to make it. No. That
The
one
soup will appreciate.
that one is very true. We will not get it like we used to. But the policy, I'm telling you, because you are in Accra. When my son told me, I said, Nana, I have a good example for you. Look at this young man who couldn't even afford. Now in my village, I have people go to Holy Child. I have people go to Accra Girls, and they are so proud to say that I'm.
But that's not in doubt. I've said
They should open up for support.
I've said over and over again. I know somebody in Enginem who is also a teacher who told me that look, she's taught there for 10, 12 years. There's another teacher, male teacher, who corroborated what she said, that they taught there for about 12 years, and within those 12 years, they've seen that people go up to JHS level, and that's it.
That's it.
They're either going to the farm or go to Accra.
Not even
for food,
JHS, so they
or
go
look
to
for some-
Form 1, Form 2, because they know they wouldn't
So
move
for
on.
them,
They just-
because they are JHS teachers, that's
They
how it
understand.
ends. And then when free SHS began, they saw how parents were now, energetic and energized about, getting ready, your money back secondary school, that kind of thing. Because then it would now improve the quality of individuals who go SHS, come back. Some of them will find their way into polytechnics and all of that. They'll come back, they'll come and influence and impact their society. But then the bottom line is the food.
The food.
And as we speak now, children are coming back on the 19th of February. They went to school in January. It is less than 6 weeks. So there's a problem
Yeah.
somewhere in terms of access, instruction period.
They're coming 19.
Yes.
Oh, I miss my son already.
But they're coming back on the 19th. So there are issues. There are real issues. I think we need to, extrapolate the issues
Yeah.
and deal with them but on the whole, free SHS, as I've said many times, is a good policy. It's a good policy. There's a message from Major Say. I'm a member of the National Cadet Corps, so I'm a captain. He's a major. It says, please greet Madam Cynthia Morrison for me. Myself and Augustus Atopi, he's also there. He's a captain. August started a cadet corps in Mary Lamf
yeah.
Montessori Learning Center at Dansoman and Street
Dansoman
Room.
and Street Room.
And I miss her. He says part of the money she paid me was how I was able to enter tertiary, and now I'm a professional engineer. He's somewhere in the north.
I'll take his number.
Captain Asari.
Thank you.
Yes. So you paid school fees. Yeah, he was doing.
He trained my
exactly,
my school children.
exactly. And I've done that in too many schools, activating cadets as well. And that said you so.
And now one of my children, I have a lot of children I adopted, like from the villages. I just pick them and then I take care of them. And now one of my sons, Papaya, is now the cadet. He's training them for cadet.
Oh, okay.
Before he goes to school, he's now training them for cadet.
Wow. Yeah. Well done. Well done. So now let's get back to the conversation. Should we be paying child benefits as a country?
If we have, I would say we should pay.
Priorities.
If we will not abuse it.
Priorities.
If we not, you see, I always go to the abuse because look, once there's an open door, even people who would benefit from it, you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. Like this COVID time, we're sharing hot food. Somebody will call you, so you're sharing the rice, you're not bringing, and you're like, do you need that?
You don't.
Me, in my house, I used to cook for my house and share to my neighborhood. I didn't know. My husband went out he walks every morning. Me, I don't walk. He walks every morning. And then...
You talk. You don't walk. You're parliamentarian.
I don't walk. And then he said, something happened. And he said, one guy said, oh, when you go, greet madam for me. She fed us during the COVID time. I said, but how did he know you? He said, so I don't even know. And I don't even know them. I cook food. Look, I ask my driver and my security. We'll drive as far as to Domiko Abenya, or when I hear on radio.
This next time pass by Hacho.
Oh, you hear COVID. Oh. I drive all the way there just to go and share food and then come back. Because I feel, what is it? I was telling my sister yesterday, look, Solomon said vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. It is very true. Even the dresses that we have, how many do we wear? Even our bedroom, our room, the bed. Me, I sleep at one side, and I've slept there, and I'm like,
the bed is falling. Okay? The bed is caving in.
Oh, so we should learn to help the poor. We should learn to help the vulnerable. Look, they will not always be there. At least when you do something good to them, they will in turn learn to do it to the other. So if there's a child policy that we have to give maybe some stipends to parents to take, we have LEAP, but it is not enough. It is for the poorest of the poor. And even when I go out to these buses, I need BBS DG fans, because there's not anything.
There's nothing
so
much in it.
I mean, when I go and the media comes, I'm like, how much are we giving them that? All this media you're following, the money will give you. Don't come next time, so we add it to their money.
What money do you do to the media?
Oh, Johnnie,
support.
When they support,
to support.
Madam, my point is about recreation. The children's park. A lot of these young boys and girls we're talking about, some of them live there.
Oh, I know.
Under the trees. What have we done with the children's park? It's under your ministry, if I'm right.
It was. She's no longer the minister.
She's still. What's the minister?
There's a new minister.
Oh no, but she can speak to them.
There's a new minister.
Let her speak.
I won't speak. I know the children. Some of them sleep there. They don't only sleep there. They sleep around. How do you call this place? Airport. The runabout.
That's right. That's right.
They sleep on that pavement.
The gateway to Ghana.
They sleep under that big gutter. By Opebia, that corner, they sleep there. And I go at night. We went with buses to pick them, and you literally pick a child from the gutter.
These are Ghanaian children.
Ghanaian children. Not the foreigners. We take them straight to their embassy. Niger and those people, Nigeria, take them to their embassy. But for these ones, they are Ghanaian children. You come and talk to them. Some of them will tell you their story, and it's very pathetic. Some of them, the other day, I said, "Then they chill, be maybe chill, mama." That young boy, I loved him. He said, everything I make, I send it to my mother because she doesn't have. Some of them are working for their parents.
So is it true that there's a cartel of people who use children as beggars?
Yes. For Ghana, not much.
But there is.
There is.
Or there are.
And those people are, they don't only use them to go and beg for alms. They use them at night to do
woman of sorts.
Yes, so those little children can go through a little hole, so they use them. But for the cartel who use those children, the Nigerians and all those people, they are not from here. You can what's the name? Medina. Yeah, the Medina traffic lights.
Right.
You see a certain man, wrapped his hair. He'll be sitting at a distance. He doesn't sit with them, he sits at a distance. And then you see one woman with like 6 children. They are not her children. They are not her children. You arrest them today, you send them to the next time you see them. But for those from Niger and things, once you send them to the embassy, they take them back home.
What's your Valentine message to Mr.?
To
Your husband.
my husband, my sweetheart, I love you. I love you. He's such an amazing man. He's complimented my father, my husband, my uncle, my brother. I didn't. Oh no, I have other half brothers. So if I say, but like my mother, we had 4 girls. I lived with 4 girls, so I never. He's the first man I lived with, and he's such a sweetheart. He's such an amazing. This morning, he gave me a beautiful portrait of myself and him, and it was like, but he doesn't know how to do surprises, you know. Yesterday he brought a thing. I saw it. I thought I didn't know what it was. And then he's removing it down. I know you're listening to me. He's removing it. He's removing it in the room when I was in the bath. So I could hear the noise. So I'm like, what is it? So I came to see him unwrapping the thing. I said, well, you're surprised them. You should have done it outside.
The man is getting ready to go and walk. You are telling him to take his time.
No. He went out to walk.
Okay.
And then I was going, because I was coming here, I was going to get ready. I was in the bathroom. So when he opened the door, I heard. But he was unwrapping the parcel.
And you could hear
but I didn't know. So when I came out, because I thought, well, when he opened the door, I thought it was, I had puddles. So I thought one of them had entered the room. Right. So that's why I came out. I said, baby, Papa, when you surprised them, you know. But he's such an amazing husband and a father. Dal, I love you so much. He's made me who I am. You know, he sobered me. He's made me. And he tells me, I love you every day, not once. I love you is a common word. So Valentine, when he tells me I love you, is nothing.
It's like you are repeating what I already know.
And it's not because I'm on air. He knows it, and everybody around us knows it. That he's such an amazing man. He's a wonderful husband and a father. He's a counselor. He does something, and I'm like, no, this one is wrong. He accepts it. You know, men have ego, but this man is. I wish all men would learn from him.
William.
I wish all men would learn from. You see,
Johnnie.
when you do that, your wife can tell you everything. Because we want the best for ourselves. So if my husband is the best, then I am also enjoying. So I wouldn't let my husband go astray. Even when he's preaching, he's a local preacher. When he's preaching in church, you know, he'll be watching me. When the message is becoming for signals, and it complements so perfectly, you know. So
you are the producer.
Madam, we're enjoying.
The producer, you're enjoying.
No. I'm enjoying.
Boss,
as for that one, you know, so me, I don't need. I have friends, but I don't need friends.
No. The Bilala. What song do you want us to play for you?
Love.
My Endless Love.
But before Madam goes, she has to tell me
she's not
something
gone
about
yet.
Children's Park, because that's my project.
Children's Park, we'll talk about it. It's behind the scenes.
Behind
There's
the
certain things. Behind the scenes, we'll talk about it.
What should young people, and clearly we can see from the testimonial that you're enjoying your marriage and your family life, what should young people who fall in love be aspiring to?
You know, there are so many men, there are so many women. You chose one. So the person you chose, I believe, should be someone that forever you can live with. Don't choose somebody because you are hard pressed. Don't choose someone because the person sponsored you or the person helped you in a way. If it's for help, at the moment that you begin to stand on your own and you are able to do that help, then you don't need the person again. But if you love someone for love, you love someone because this is a person I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Right.
The person should be your friend. Look, the person should be your friend. Every wedding I attend, if I have to cut the cake or I have to advise, say, make your partner your best friend so that you can share everything. Look, marriage is so beautiful. Men, when you treat your wives and you do all that you can in that early marriage, when you grow up, when you need a woman, you realize that she will not be there. The love will not be there. Same with the opposite. Some girls are too much. They feel, I'm coming from a good home, and who are you? I made you a favor by marrying you. Why you made who a favor? Why didn't you go for someone else? So marriage is so beautiful. Marriage is so sweet, depending on the both of you. Right. So I would advise my young couple. It shouldn't be. It's not. Look, before I married, because of what my mother went through, I told myself, any man who would bluff me, I would leave. That is the mentality I had. Yeah. But I erased it. And I said, no. Why should I look at what my mother went through? If it's negative, I should discard it and look for the positive. So when you have a relationship, when you're married, make a conscious effort. You will not get a perfect partner.
Right.
I haven't said my husband is perfect. He's a human being. As for the love I have to endure, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying whatever it takes. But because he's a human being, there'll be little things that you wouldn't. That's why I said, you should be looking at me that I don't want this thing, this thing. And we don't argue. We don't sit and talk about, like, let's sit and trash issues, arguments, and call somebody. None of my friends, none of my relatives, I haven't reported to anybody anything because we'll talk on our own. When the thing happens, talk about it there and then. Don't wait and accumulate everything. And last 2 weeks you did this, and last month when your friend came and
public accounts committee.
More than public account. When it comes, talk about it there and then. Whoever is wrong, say I'm sorry. Whoever is right, the other person who was offended, just go and hug and do whatever it is, and then make the marriage work. I pray that every marriage will work on this thing.
Our friends on Facebook, Wafa Cases, good morning. I'm watching from Teshi. Happy Valentine's Day to all MPP members in the country. Special regards to incoming President Dr. Efri Akuto 2024, hashtag the legend. John Boko says, I salute you for talking about environmental cleaning for Belgium. Okay, it says thank you for the education on no litter, Green Train Africa, Ngo Antwerp. Commend you. Do you have a comment on Dr. Efri Akuto as next president of the Republic?
For all how many of them?
There's Dr. Baumia, there's Alan Tremantin.
About 10.
Yes, about 10.
I haven't counted. I'm waiting for the last day. But all our advice, my advice to all 10, if they are 10, introspection. Well, we are breaking the 8 is not a joke.
You believe in breaking the 8?
I believe we can break the 8. Who said Chia?
Who said Chia? She's sitting right by you.
She said Chia.
Allow Madam to answer the question. Yes, let's hear you. Introspection.
Yes, because before you take a step, you have to find out where am I going? Am I only coming to advertise myself, or I believe in my heart that I'm going to win? Left to me alone. Left to me alone. I know MPP, democracy, Ebetuabai will do whatever. Left to me alone. We can go behind closed doors and do our analysis well. Left to me alone. I don't think we
choose
need
Dr. Baumia or Alan Tremantin.
I don't think we need this noise.
Or Dr.
This noise. So me, I don't talk about it.
Or Cabinet Japan or
so
Engineer Dynamo.
They are 10. All of them are MPP members. So why don't we sit and, because at this time, going for election, throwing money out, even if you give 1 city, they say you give 10 cities. This one will jab that one, and at the end of the day, look, if we want to break the 8, which is an extraordinary thing, we should do something extraordinary.
Okay.
To break the 8.
Okay, now there's the point where you introduce the song for
My Endless Love.
My Endless Love to
Mr. Herbert and Morrison. Morrison and Associates.
Morrison and Associates.
Yes.
Yes.
Physically challenged out there. So your people are here. So when you get out,
when you get there, your squad is out there.
My sweetheart.
So your squad is waiting for you at the forecourt. So Mr. Herbert
Ando
Morrison, My Endless Love. DJ Phil, start it all over again. Thank you very much for your time.